I wasn't snooping. Let's get that straight first. It started on a Sunday morning. Jenna had left her iPad in the kitchen, plugged into the wall like she always did. I was making coffee, the cat was winding between my legs, and the sun had barely broken through the curtains. I reached over to check the weather, that's it. But then the screen lit up and I saw her name. Can't stop thinking about last night. You're so good to me. Heart emoji. No name attached. Just a number. And that was the moment everything started unraveling. My hands froze above the countertop. I stared at the message like it was written in fire. Tapped it. I know I shouldn't have. But I did. And it opened a thread. A long, disgusting thread. Of flirty texts, late-night selfies, and one photo of my wife in lingerie I didn't even recognize. I felt like I'd been kicked in the stomach. There she was, in our house, in our kitchen, humming to herself as she watered her stupid fiddle leaf figure. And I was standing 10 feet away, knowing she was cheating. And not just cheating. She was happy about it. I set the iPad down like it was radioactive and walked back to the living room. My heart was pounding so hard I thought she might hear it. But I didn't say anything. Not yet. I wanted to know everything first. The next few days were like watching a movie in slow motion. I watched her kiss me goodbye in the morning with that same mouth that had been whispering dirty things to someone else. I watched her pick at dinner while texting under the table. I watched her pretend to be tired when I asked if she wanted to watch something together. I knew her patterns too well. That's what being married does to you. It makes your partner's rhythms part of your own. Jenna had started coming home late about 3 months ago. Campaign season, she'd said. Clients are demanding. Long nights. And I believed her. Hell, I even brought her takeout to her office once. She wasn't there. She texted me 5 minutes later. Sorry babe, meeting ran long, I just left. But her office had been locked. Dark. No sign of her car. I remember sitting in the parking lot that night, with a bag of Thai food getting cold in my lap, trying to convince myself that I was just being paranoid. That she was telling the truth. She wasn't. The night I saw her in his car was the night I stopped pretending. She said she was going to a girls' night at Emma's house. Smiled. Nodded. Kissed her cheek. Watched her leave in that little black dress she only wore when she wanted attention. Then I opened the tracking app. Don't judge me. We'd installed it together 2 years ago when she lost her phone during a hike. Just in case, she said, laughing. I never deleted it. She wasn't at Emma's. She was parked in a dim strip mall lot across town, behind a shuttered tailor shop. I drove past once. Didn't stop. Just slowed down enough to see the silver BMW. Her leaning in. His hand on her thigh. Her lips on his. I parked 2 blocks away and sat there for an hour staring at nothing. That was the night the rage came. Not the explosive kind. Not the screaming, smashing, burning the house down kind. Mine was cold, focused, strategic. I didn't want revenge just to feel better. I wanted balance. Emma was the last person I expected to become part of this story. Jenna's best friend since college. Kind. Reserved. Always the one texting me. Can you believe your wife still watches Grey's Anatomy? Or, don't forget our game night this Friday. She was the safe one. The one who helped us decorate the Christmas tree last year. The one who knew everything about Jenna, or so I thought. Until the night of Emma's birthday party. It was a casual thing, backyard lights, wine, fire pit. Jenna got drunk fast. She always did when she had something to hide. Around 10 p.m. she stumbled inside to lie down for a bit. I stayed out, sipping whiskey, trying not to look like a man unraveling in slow motion. Emma came over and sat beside me. Too close, but not uncomfortably so. You doing okay? She asked. I looked at her. And I mean really looked. She had this gentle sadness in her eyes, like she knew something. And then she said it. You deserve someone who doesn't make you feel like a backup plan. I didn't answer. I just stared into the fire. And then she added, so softly I almost missed it. I've seen the way you look at her. And I've seen the way she looks at her phone. That was the first crack. The next week Emma invited me over. Need help clearing out my backyard, she said. Some old junk I can't lift alone. Said sure. What the hell? I didn't want to be home when Jenna got back from one of her mysterious meetings anyway. Emma was different that day. Not flirtatious. Just present. She handed me a beer, smiled without trying too hard and asked, "Why haven't you confronted her?" I told her the truth. Because I didn't want to fall apart in front of someone who didn't care. Because I wanted the truth to rot inside her before I ever let her know I knew. Emma listened. Really listened. And then, halfway through our second drink, she put her hand on mine and said, "She's not worth this version of you." That night I went home and Jenna wasn't there. Her text came at 1:43 a.m. Late shoot. Crashed at the studio. Love you. I stared at the message. Then at the reflection of myself in the dark window. Love me. Well, she loved that I still loved her. That I still hadn't walked out. That I still played the part. But the mask was slipping. Emma had seen beneath it. The last message I read on her iPad haunted me. It was from him. When are you going to leave him? He doesn't touch you like I do. Jenna had replied. Soon. He's clueless. I just need to ease him out gently. Ease me out. Like I was a job she was quitting. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch, staring at our wedding photo on the wall. We looked so happy. Young. Eve. Jenna was glowing in her dress. And I was just glad she said yes. I should have seen it sooner. The cold sex. The dodged kisses. The late nights. The tension that never got named. But love is a hell of a blindfold. And mine had finally slipped off. The next morning Jenna kissed me goodbye like always. Love you, she said, grabbing her keys. I looked her dead in the eye and said, be careful out there. She paused. Just for a second. Like she sensed something had shifted. Then she smiled and left. I picked up the phone and texted Emma. You free later? She replied 2 seconds later. For you. Always. I didn't go to Emma's house that night for sex. At least that's what I told myself. I told myself I just needed someone to talk to. Someone who knew Jenna. Someone who had already seen the cracks. But deep down, in that dark little corner of me I'd been trying to ignore for weeks, I knew. I knew what was about to happen the moment she opened the door. She was barefoot. Loose t-shirt. No makeup. Her hair in a messy bun that somehow made her look even more stunning than when she was done up. She smiled softly like she'd been expecting me. Not just hoping but knowing. Hey, she said. Just that. Like we weren't about to cross a line neither of us could ever uncross. I stepped in and for a few seconds we just stood in her living room. The air was heavy. The silence louder than any words. You want a drink? She finally asked. He nodded. Whiskey if you've got it. She smiled again, crooked, sad. I always do. We sat on her couch, sipping in silence. Outside, the wind rustled the trees. Inside, the only sound was the soft clink of ice against glass. She didn't press me. Didn't ask what had happened. She just sat there, shoulder barely touching mine, waiting. And then I said it. I saw them. Her eyes moved to mine, slow and deliberate. Where? Behind that tailor shop off 11th. She didn't act surprised. Just sad. I'm sorry. I shook my head. Don't be. You didn't do it. She looked down into her glass. No, but I knew. I just didn't want to believe it. I stared at her for a long time. How long? She hesitated, then said, at least 2 months. Maybe more. I overheard her on the phone one night. She didn't know I was in the room. I felt like my whole chest caved in. Why didn't you tell me? She met my gaze. Because I wasn't sure what you'd do. And maybe part of me thought if I told you, it would break something I couldn't put back. We didn't speak for a while after that. We just drank. And then she said, almost whispering, you loved her. Too much, maybe. He nodded. And she loved being loved. That's all it ever was. Emma reached out and touched my hand. Her fingers were warm, grounding. She didn't flinch when I turned my palm to hold hers. Felt natural. Dangerous but natural. I don't want to be a rebound, she said. You're not. Then what am I? I didn't have an answer. Not yet. So instead of speaking, I leaned in. Slowly. Giving her every chance to stop me. He didn't. Our lips met. Soft at first, almost cautious. Like we were testing the weight of our choices. But then something shifted. Her hands slid up my chest into my hair. Mine found her waist, her back, her curves. We weren't cautious anymore. We were hungry. She pulled back just enough to whisper. Are you sure? No, I said honestly. But I don't care. And neither did she. We moved like two people starved of affection, of being seen. Every touch was electric. Every kiss burned. Her t-shirt was gone in seconds. I traced every inch of her with hands that hadn't felt wanted in months. She gasped my name like it meant something. Maybe it did. We didn't make love, that's too clean a phrase. We collided. In her bed, tangled in sheets and sighs, we stripped away more than clothes. We stripped away pain, resentment, loneliness, and maybe some of the guilt too. For a little while, there was nothing but heat and skin and breath. She was everything Jenna hadn't been for years. Attentive, present, real. She didn't perform, she connected. She didn't fake pleasure, she let it consume her. When it was over, we lay there in silence. Our bodies still touching. Her head on my chest. My fingers tracing circles on her back. I didn't mean for this to happen, she whispered. I did, I admitted. She looked up at me. Why me? I stared at the ceiling. Because you were there. 'Cause you saw me. Because you didn't lie. She blinked like she might cry. I always hated how she treated you. She knew I wouldn't leave, I said bitterly. Emma shook her head. She thought you were weak. But staying, loving someone that hard, that's not weakness. We didn't sleep much that night. In the early hours, as the sky turned that soft bruised blue of morning, I got dressed. Emma sat up, hair wild, sheets around her like some accidental goddess. What happens now? She asked. I sighed. I don't know. But I did. Jenna was still asleep when I got home. Her hair splayed across the pillow. Her phone on the nightstand. I sat on the edge of the bed and watched her. I wondered if she dreamed of him. If her mind was with him even as her body lay beside me. And then I got up, showered, made coffee, like nothing had changed. Except everything had. For 2 weeks I didn't say a word. Jenna kept lying. Kept smiling. Kept texting under the table. Let her. 'Cause now I had my own secret. I saw Emma twice more. The first time was quiet, tender. The second was desperate, almost angry. We didn't talk much. Just touched. Let our bodies scream what our mouths couldn't say. But guilt is a patient hunter. It creeps in when you're alone. When the thrill fades and all that's left is the silence afterward. Emma started pulling away. This isn't fair, she said. To either of us. I agreed. But I still went back. Because she was the only part of this whole mess that didn't feel like a lie. The final straw came on a Wednesday. Jenna left her laptop open while she showered. I wasn't trying to snoop. But when the email popped up, hotel confirmation, 1-night stay, reservation for 2, I couldn't ignore it. She was meeting him again. This time I didn't just want to know. I wanted her to know I knew. That night, I waited until she came home. She looked surprised to see me in the living room, lights off, drink in hand. Hey, she said cautiously. Everything okay? I held up the iPad. The message still on the screen. Her face drained of color. Where are you going Friday night? I asked calmly. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. It's for work. A retreat. Smiled. No, it's not. Silence. I know, Jenna. I've known for weeks. Her face crumpled. She tried to cry. To explain. To apologize. I didn't let her. You didn't just cheat, I said. You planned a future without me. You wanted me gone, just not in a messy way. She dropped into a chair, hands trembling. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed. cold and bitter. You didn't care enough not to. Then she asked the question I never expected. Are you leaving me? I looked her straight in the eyes. No. Her jaw dropped. She looked confused, angry, even relieved for half a second. Then I added, You're going to leave me, just like you planned. And when you do, I want you to remember something. What? She spat. I slept with Emma. Silence. Deafening. You're lying, she whispered. I tilted my head. You think I'd make that up? Her face turned red, then white, then red again. She started shouting, crying, calling me names. I didn't flinch. You wanted out, I said calmly. Now you've got it. That night she packed a bag, slamming drawers, swearing under her breath. She left without saying goodbye. I stood at the window and watched her drive away. And I swear to God, I'd never felt lighter. 3 days after Jenna left, I got a call from her sister. She told Mom, she said, her voice like broken glass. She told Mom you cheated on her with Emma. I almost laughed. Of course she did. She's making it sound like you blindsided her. Like she had no idea. Did she mention the hotel confirmations? The secret meetups? Silence. Didn't think so. By the end of the week, our entire circle of friends knew. And just like that, the narrative flipped. Jenna was the hurt wife. I was the bastard who banged her best friend. No one wanted to hear my side. No one wanted to ask why. Because truth takes effort. And lies. Lies come easy when they fit the drama. Emma called that Sunday. They've been messaging me, she said quietly. Jenna's friends. Your friends. People we both knew. Calling me a homewrecker. Slut. Asking how long it had been going on. Clenched my jaw. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. Feels like it. She sighed. We knew this would happen. Pause. Do you regret it? A long silence. I regret the timing, she said finally. But not the moment. Emma went quiet after that. Stopped replying to my texts. Ignored my calls. I drove to her house once. Lights were off, blinds drawn. I left flowers at her door. She never said a word. She was protecting herself. And I couldn't blame her. The divorce papers arrived 2 weeks later. No alimony, no drawn-out battle. Just clean breaks and split property. I signed them without a word. I sent them back with a sticky note. Next time, just tell the truth. I never got a response. You think there's going to be some great release after something like that. Some sense of freedom. Clarity. But it didn't come. At least not right away. Instead there was just space. 2 rooms. 1 toothbrush in the holder. 1 set of shoes by the door. 1 cup in the sink. And in that silence I started to really ask myself, not why Jenna cheated, but why I stayed for so long when I knew something was wrong. 2 months later I ran into Jenna. It was at a bar downtown. She was with a group of people, laughing too loudly. Her eyes scanning the room like she wanted someone to notice how okay she was. She saw me. Froze. I nodded once. She didn't wave. She just turned her back. That told me everything. Later that night I got a message on Facebook. I still think about you. I stared at those 5 words like they were a rope in a storm. I typed and deleted 100 replies. Finally settled on. You stopped answering. She replied instantly. I was scared. Of you. Of me. Of being the second choice. You weren't. It felt like I was. We met for coffee that week. It was awkward. Her smile was cautious. Her eyes tired. But it was her. She asked me, "What do you want from me?" And I told her the truth. I don't know what comes next. But I want you in it. She sipped her coffee. Didn't answer right away. Then she said, "You have to understand something, Tyler. I didn't sleep with you to hurt Jenna. I slept with you because for once, I wanted something real." "You got real," I said. "So did I." She looked down. "I don't want to be someone's revenge story. You weren't. Jenna was mine. You were the truth I found under all the lies." We didn't kiss that day. Didn't touch. But when she stood up to leave, she said, "Call me tomorrow." I did. 6 months later, we moved in together. Slowly, carefully. No big announcements, just little steps. She still got looks when we walked into restaurants. I still heard the whispers when old friends spotted us. But we didn't care. Not anymore. We were building something from ashes. It wasn't perfect, it never would be. But it was honest. And then one night, about a year after the night I walked into her apartment with whiskey in my blood and betrayal on my back, we were lying in bed, her head on my chest, soft jazz playing from her phone, and she asked, "Do you ever think about her?" I didn't pretend not to know who she meant. "Sometimes," I said. "What do you feel?" I thought for a moment. "Nothing." She smiled. "Me too. People think revenge is loud. That it comes in the form of fire or fury or slammed doors. But the best kind of revenge, it's peace. It's waking up next to someone who doesn't lie. It's not having to wonder where they are. It's not revenge on someone. It's revenge away from them." Jenna's still with that guy. The one she cheated with. I see their pictures online. Perfect smiles. Brunch mimosas. Sunset selfies. I scroll right past. 'Cause that's not real. What I have now is messy, complicated, but it's mine. And I wouldn't trade it for all the fake smiles in the world.